I'm Heather Hicks. I'm the Education Chair for the PUG Steering Committee and one of the facilitators for this webinar. Also with us today are Jennifer Harrison, our PUG Chair, and Alma Frith, our Relations Chair, who will be supporting the webinar and coordination. Today's topic is assessing the Texas geospatial data, a guide to TxGIO's DataHub and warehouse. I am trying to share our little slide here. Hopefully that's visible. A couple of housekeeping items. First, about the PUG, if you're new to us for this webinar, the PUG is a global professional organization for GIS and geospatial professionals and users across the energy industry. We have over 4,400 members, and we aim to work collaboratively as volunteers to improve and enhance the use of GIS and geospatial workflows and technologies. There are a lot of resources available to this community, and on the slide we have our the link to our PUG Hub on ArcGIS Online. In addition, a few logistical items. This meeting will be recorded and available on the PUG Hub. Please use the chat functions if you have any questions. If we have time at the end, we can open the meeting to questions at the end of the presentations. Also, if you have any ideas or thoughts around future webinars or would like to present as part of the PUG community, please reach out to me. My email is on the slide at education.pugonline.org. So with that, I'll turn it over to Alma for introducing our speakers today.
Thank you, Heather. Hi, my name is Alma. I'm also part of the PUG. External relations is my position. So I'm really excited to kind of give you a quick biography for our presenters. We have here Gayla. She's the Director of Geographic Information Services at Texas Geographic Information Office, formerly known as Tenorus. Prior to this role, she was a manager of StratMap program, and before that, she was one of the most talented remote sensing specialists working for Tenorus. And we also have Joey Thomas, who is a strategic mapping program manager at Texas Geographic Information Office. Before this, he was also a program manager. He was the lead of Tenorus Research and Distribution Center and an elevation specialist. Gayla and Joey, welcome. I'll hand this over to you, Gayla.
Sure. Thank you so much, Jenny, Heather, and Alma, for reaching out to us at the Texas Geographic Information Office to do this Lunch and Learn today. We're really happy to be here and excited that you all are attending. I think our communities have a lot of overlap and a lot that resources from each organization that we can share, not only today, but moving forward. So it's really great to be in coordination with the PUG. So thank you again. So this is our title slide. You're going to hear a lot from our strategic mapping, or also known as StratMap program, our data sets and how to get to those data. But to start off, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of our office. And so, yes, we are the Texas Geographic Information Office. This is our URL. It's fairly new. We changed our name from Tenorus, which was the Texas Natural Resources Information System. It had been that name for, almost 30 years. And we changed it over a year ago and updated our URL as well to more reflect what we do in our office. And we are a part of a state agency called the Texas Water Development Board. So we are Texas Water Development Board employees, and we simply office within that state agency. But as you can see from our statute, which is in the water code, so by law, essentially, we are here to serve other state agencies and the citizens of Texas and outside of Texas with a centralized clearinghouse for geographic data and engagement in Texas. As part of our office, we also house our Texas Geographic Information Officer. And that is a role that is given to the lead of our office, who is currently Richard Wade. Okay, move on to the next slide, please. So our mission statement is to empower the geospatial community by providing data access, services, partnerships, and engagement. And so you'll hear all about that during this presentation. And I'm not going to read all of our numbers there, but it essentially shows you how many data sets we have, how much is downloaded from our site, how much we engage with our community. We host a big conference at the that we will invite you to at the end of this presentation in November, called the Texas GIS Forum. If you haven't been to it, we would love for you to come this year in Austin in November. And then we also have quarterly community meetings, which we'll let you know when those occur as well, that are open to the public to just learn about what's going on in GIS from, you know, a statewide perspective. Next slide. And so if you're joining us, if you are outside of Texas, or if you perform work, geographic data and need geographic data from other states that are not Texas, and you're not aware of where to get that kind of data, NSGIC is a great source. That stands for the National States Geographic Information Council. And they are a membership organization, and on their website, they have every state listed, and commonly links to their equivalent of our office in that particular state, as well as who their state GIO, or Geographic Information Officer, is, and their contact information there. So NSGIC is a great source if you're looking for. Also, federal initiatives are typically posted, or information about them are also on the NSGIC site. So that's all I have. I'm going to hand it over to Joey to talk about the strategic mapping program.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm Joey Thomas. As mentioned earlier, I'm the manager of the TxGIO Strategic Mapping Program. And the main purpose of the StratMap program is to maintain authoritative and trusted state geospatial layers. And we do that primarily by acquiring new geospatial data and updating existing statewide data sets for the state of Texas. We also define common mapping standards and hand out specifications for those to a lot of the local and regional government entities, so that we can ensure there's a consistent quality and specifications for those data sets. And then we also do a lot of partnerships with the local and federal agencies as well. We've partnered with over 80 different agencies since the program really started going out and acquiring data around 2010. And we have done millions of dollars of projects in the state of Texas, covering LiDAR, bathymetry, parcel, address points, and many other data sets. And I think now I will turn it over to Lauren Kirk, our imagery specialist, to talk a little bit about the orthoimagery data sets that we acquire for the state.
Thanks, Joey. Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren Kirk. I'm the imagery specialist at TxGIO. So if you were not already aware, TxGIO has a long history of acquiring orthoimagery at state level and regional and local levels as well. TxGIO began collecting orthoimagery right around about 30 years ago. I think our first statewide collection occurred over 1995, 1996. But since then, our orthoimagery program has grown exponentially. In the past, we have partnered with federal agencies, other state agencies, regional and local agencies. So we basically have some sort of orthoimagery collection at any given point for any area in the state of Texas, pretty much about every other year frequency, maybe every 2 years. And the resolution of that imagery varies depending on the project and funding sources. So typically you'll see around 6-inch to half-meter resolution on all of these collections. And all of those orthoimagery collections, over 90 of those collections, are available for free download on our TxGIO DataHub website. A lot of those collections also can be downloaded. So you can download the geotips or the JP2 files for that collection. You can also stream web map services of those collections, for many of them at least, if you don't want to download the data. So that's a really good option if you're trying to plug in some imagery as a base layer in your web applications. So definitely check out our DataHub to kind of poke around and see what the latest imagery collection is that we have. And then pivoting, if we can go to the next slide, a new initiative at TxGIO is we have just recently kicked off a statewide high-resolution 1-meter land cover project for Texas. So this is a first of its kind project. We're really excited to see it progress. We did a pilot of the greater Houston area a couple years ago, and that was really well received. And we had a lot of people asking, this is great, but what about the rest of the state? So it's coming. And so this land cover data set will have 22 unique land cover classes, and it will be derived from imagery acquired by or for the Text Geographic Information Office. Sorry, can you go back one slide real fast? I just want to make sure I touch everything. But yeah, so we will expect this data to be made publicly available through our DataHub website probably in about a year. The project is just getting going, so definitely more to come with that. And then if you can go on to the next slide, just a comparison of what we've had and where we're going. So typically we have hosted USGS NLCD data sets for Texas on our DataHub, and those have been in a 30-meter pixel resolution. And like I mentioned earlier, the project we are kicking off will have a 1-meter resolution, so you can definitely see demoed here the clarity and the granularity that you'll be able to get with the different land cover classes in that new product. So more to come on that. Stay tuned. Definitely come to our GIS community meetings if you want to hear more about the progress of this project. I'll be updating frequently on this. But that concludes my updates. And with that, I'll pass it over to Ellen St. Romain. Thanks, y'all.
Hey everybody, my name's Ellen and I am the Elevation Program Specialist at TxGIO. I've been in this position about 2.5 years now, but we have several LiDAR collections going back a couple decades. So the collections vary in their quality level depending on, how old it is, what technology was available. But our current standard now, the specification that we acquire data with through our StratMap program is slightly higher resolution than the USGS QL2 data standard. So we acquire LiDAR at a 4-point per square meter resolution. And then we also have a few additional classifications that we require our vendors to produce. So low, medium, and high vegetation, as well as culverts, are included in our StratMap base specification. The collections we acquire have several products that are delivered. The most recent exciting thing is that moving forward, we're going to be acquiring 2D building footprints and 3D building models with every collection that we have. So that's new and exciting. Look out for that. We also, across different collections, have different buy-up data that is available in different parts of the area of interest. Those are determined by our partners. So we have different funding partners on different collections who are looking to do several different kinds of analysis. So sometimes there will be portions of a collection that are a 12-point per square meter density instead of our base 4-point, or some areas will have 1-foot contours available, et cetera, et cetera. And those are just what we call, again, buy-up data. So those will vary from collection to collection. But all of our data is available for free on the DataHub. And if you move forward to the next slide, I will talk about our 2 most recent LiDAR acquisitions that the StratMap program has done. We had 2 collections last winter that we flew, or 2 winters ago that we flew, that have different buy-up data available for them. And we partnered with the USGS on that 2024 Archer Jack Land Process in Smith County's LiDAR project. And you can see in the map I have on the screen there, that orange area is actually our current project that we have going on, and it is the largest LiDAR acquisition our program has ever done. So that was really an exciting project to kick off. We're currently in the data processing phase for that project. And as you can see, based off of the area boundaries, we're starting to move to a HUC-6 based project area boundary. And that's because we are part of the Texas Water Development Board, and a lot of the analysis that we do with this is stuff like flood modeling. So if you move to the next slide, thank you. There are several other LiDAR acquisition projects that are currently going on in the state. The 2022 USGS project we have in-house. The USGS has that on their LiDAR data page you can go download, but we have it in-house. I'm creating 2-foot and 5-foot HIPSO for that right now. That'll be on our DataHub soon. The Houston Galveston Area Council did a LiDAR acquisition in collaboration with the USGS, and that data will become available early next year. And then the USGS also did a separate project that they flew LiDAR on their own in several different locations across the state, and that will be available sometime in 2026. So there's lots of new LiDAR that's going to be available in the next year. Again, my name is Ellen, so if you ever have any questions, you can reach out to me directly. I'm sure our contact information is going to be on here somewhere. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off. I think to Clayton.
Thanks, Ellen. Hi, everyone. I'm Clayton Rainier. I'm the program specialist for our bathymetry program. We've been collecting bathymetry at TxGIO for around 7 years now. This is a relatively new role that I'm in now, and so we're hoping to have more regular collections. Our specifications follows NOAA's implementation of the International Hydrographic Organization specs, and this is referred to as the Hydrographic Survey Specification and Deliverables document. Because we follow these specs, our data is easily integrated with the National Bathymetric Source Program with NOAA, and it's all available through NOAA's Blue Topo application, which is the nation's best available bathymetry. We have DEMs that are available on the TxGIO data hub for download, and those are in 1 meter and 10 meter resolutions. The table at the bottom shows what's currently available on the data hub, and then on the right side of that table are collections that are in progress this year and will hopefully be available by the end of the year or early 2026. The table on the far right are future projects / priority areas that we'd like to focus on. So you can just look over that table. But yeah, those are some of the projects we'd like to focus on in the future. If you can go to the next slide. This is just a map showing the current available collections we have and some of the AOIs that these occurred at, just so you can see some of the detail of these collections and where they occur at. And then those are just the collection cards for the data hub where you can download all of that. So that's all that I have for bathymetry, and I'll go ahead and pass it on to Sean.
Hey, thanks, Clayton. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sean Salisbury. I'm the Geographic Data Coordinator for the StratMap program. And I manage several different layers, but the most prominent of those is going to be the land parcels and address points. So a brief history, these two layers were identified as high priority back in 2017, high use for a lot of agencies statewide. So a standardized schema went into development in order to meet the needs of these various agencies. And the first formal collection and processing cycle went into effect in 2019. And since then, our annual release has come out in the summertime. So that's been consistent since 2019. Next slide. So our current land parcels and address point cycle is underway right now for 2025. For the land parcel collections, we partner with BIS Solutions starting last year as a contracting partner to do the collection and processing parts for the land parcels. So we're conducting that again this year. And for the land parcels, we've been unable to acquire any data for Donley County, but we're hoping to get that at some point in the future. And again, for this 2025 collection, we're anticipating publishing in late summer. And of course, every year we're seeking to increase additional addresses for our coverage. So these are our two standardized schemas for the two layers. You can expect to see these attributes in each year since the creation of the program and continuing on to the future. And these two PDFs are available for download at our strategic mapping webpage, linked in this presentation. So last year's land parcel publication, like I had mentioned before, was the first year partnering with BIS. And we were able to publish 253 counties, of course, with the exception of Donley. And this included almost 14 million land parcels. And that data set is currently available via download and WMS streaming on our DataHub. Additionally, we have our 2024 address points available. This data set is for 252 counties, and we've been unsuccessful in acquiring data for Howard County and Henderson County. And it looks like that'll be the case for 2025 as well, but hopeful for the future again. This 2024 set contained 11,300,000 points. And again, we were able to increase from 23 to 24 in overall coverage. And as a part of our annual publishing cycle, we submit our collection base to the National Address Database maintained by the U.S. Department of Transportation. And they go through a process of essentially grading the points that we submit and accept whatever they find to meet their standards for the NAD. And for 2023, those are the latest results that we have. We were able to get 93% of the points that we had submitted were accepted to the database. And we're currently awaiting our latest 2024 results from USDOT. Additionally, this is one of our newer offerings. We have some legislative boundary feature classes available on our DataHub, which includes the Senate districts, House of Reps, and then the congressional districts of the state. And this is going to be updated, as needed to reflect administrative changes, like changes in representatives themselves, and then eventual redistricting. So I believe that's all for me. So I'm going to hand it off to Aaron, our REC specialist.
Thanks, Sean. Hi, everyone. My name's Aaron Pierce. I'm an RDC GIS specialist working with StratMap. RDC stands for Research and Distribution Center. It's basically the area of StratMap that houses our historic aerial archive. So I've been with TxGIO for about 5 years, but the archive has existed since around the 1970s. Our archive contains over 1 million frames between the late 1920s to 2010s across the state of Texas. It's a living archive. So what that means is we have donations from across the state and federal organizations, as well as privately acquired imagery. So a lot of those organizations that we have received imagery from would be TxDOT, USDA, USGS, and others. TxGIO has undergone multiple scanning projects, and The archive has been fully digitized as of 2021. A lot of our imagery is in many different formats. So you can see some of our historic imagery boxes that we have on this slide. A lot of them are black and white. We also have some natural color and infrared. They range from 9x9 to 24-inch frames. So we have a varied size amount of physical frames. Like I said, the archive has been fully digitized as of 2021, and we are currently undergoing a georeferencing project to not only digitize, but geospatially enable these historic imagery to better be accessed within a GIS. We've undergone one georeferencing project in the past, and our current one will be 100,000 frames. And to talk a little bit more about that and future projects, I'll pass this on to my colleague, Maria.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maria Castillo Escobar. I am a counterpart GIS specialist for StratMap's Research and Distribution Center. Roughly been in this position going on 2 years, and continuing with our georeferencing project. We started this in 2023. And it is ongoing with roughly 100,000 frames to be georeferenced and publicly downloadable. This does mainly focus on metropolitan areas within our state. Majority of these collections are sourced from TxDOT along with USDA and Miller. Deadline for completion is expected to be August 2025. So we're looking forward to that. Following steps would be a mosaic creation of these georeference collections and creation of indexes for collections without prior line or photo indexes. And that about wraps up our georeferencing project. And we'll pass this on to, I believe I'm taking this one as well, right?
That'd be me.
Okay, thanks,
Thank
Joey.
you, Maria. Yeah, thank you, everyone. And so now I'm going to kind of go into a demo and kind of explain how you can access this data through our DataHub and then some of the other tools we have that allow you to access data that we have here at TxGIO. All right, so let me change, shift over. All right, so here is our data hub. You can access it at data.geographic.texas.gov. And so this is the landing page here. There we go. And so these are, when you get to the data hub, the first data sets you'll see are the most recent data sets. So as you can see, these kind of go down in order from time. And the first thing you'll kind of notice are we have 2 different search bars. So the first one is a keyword search. So that would be if you're looking for certain types of data. So let's say like we want to look for geology data. You'll see that you'll get some returns. It does ping anything that's in the description of the data set. So for instance, this Laguna Madre came up because it was produced by the Bureau of Economic Geology. But it can be a little touch and go sometimes, but for the most part, you should be able to find the data sets you're looking for. And as you see, as you hover over these data sets, these collection cards, you'll see the footprint of them in that map view. See, so for the other search bar, we have a spatial search. And you can actually do a spatial search 2 different ways. You can click on this button and go into the map, and then you click once and then let go and then drag it and then click again, and it will create a bounding box for you. And then the returns that you get will be any of the data that intersects that bounding box. And so here, Alternatively, if you want to use the spatial search, you can type in, like we'll do Waco, and it'll tell me there's 3 cities in Texas named Waco. I didn't know that, but we want the McLennan County one, and so it'll draw a bounding box around that city limit and then give you the returns for that. We additionally have filters that you can use. The filters show download availability. You have some general categories like LiDAR, imagery, land cover. And we also have some file types here if you're looking for specific types of data. For the most part, the major data sets that we'll have are usually DEMs, geodatabases, some IMGs, JP2s, JPEGs, LAZ, Mr. SID, Shape, TIFF. But there are some other outlying data sets that have those other formats. You can also sort by newest or oldest or alphabetically, and then we also have this kind of slider here that'll let you set the time limits for the search returns. So if we say we just want, based on this, then we'll get some returns here. It says, okay, so 2008. Oops. So after you search and find your data using whatever method you want, let's just let's do a search for Fort Worth and say we are looking to get some imagery, for instance. And so here you can come in and you can go to, let's say the most recent imagery here would be the NAPE, and then you can navigate to your area. Currently these data sets are in county mosaic format, and you can read more about the data sets here. This right here is the collection ID. And then if you keep scrolling down on this metadata tab, you can see the acquisition dates, where the data was sourced from, source data website, the spatial reference. These are the EPSG codes for the data set, the file types available, the bands available, the resolution categories, and then we also have supplemental downloads. So these downloads would be things like accuracy reports, flight lines, those types of ancillary data sets that you can find. If you want to download the data, all you'll need to do is just click in the map and it will return the data set that you click on. You can click multiple times and then you would just click this download link to initiate that download. Alternatively, if you can't find your county or you're not familiar with where a county is at, you can also select here and then find the county you want and say, okay, I want Carson County, and then it will ping it and it will additionally show you where it is on the map. Some data sets also have multiple forms of download. So here we can say parcel data sets. If you come in here, the default view is for a county-based download. But if you come in here, you can select state, and then that will allow you to download a geodatabase of the entire state of Texas. For some data sets that are really large, like say here's one of our LiDAR data sets, you have a large area you want and you don't want to click everything. You can do a custom order and define what data sets you want. If you do a custom order, we do have to charge a reproduction cost that's based on the Texas Administrative Code. It is a relatively small fee, but there is a fee for doing that physical work to reproduce the data onto a hard drive. Then you can select these data sets. If you're interested in getting more data, the best method to do that would be to, here we have, it says tired of clicking. There's a link here that you can access that will take you to one of our applications, which is the bulk downloader. And you can say, you can download this here for Windows by just clicking on the bulk downloader link. And let me show you a quick demo of that. So in the DataHub, earlier you heard me mention the collection ID. So here is the collection ID. So to use the bulk downloader, you'll need to copy that collection ID, and then you can run the bulk downloader, and it will, all you'll need to do is paste in the collection ID. And then this is for a LiDAR data set, and we'll say, okay, well, I just want the digital elevation models for that. You can also select point clouds or hypsography, but I'll just select the elevation models, and then you click Get Data. You got to set the output location, and then you tell it to get data, and then it will automatically go through and just start downloading any of the data sets that is for that collection in a DEM format. Let me switch back. So additionally, some of the other data sets that we have, as mentioned before, we do have historic imagery. So I'll turn on this historic imagery filter. And so here you can see we do have 1,900 different collections on our DataHub. And you can just kind of scroll through these, and let's do this Kamal TxDOT 1999 data set. So some of these data sets do have what's called a photo index. And so if you, on any of these historical ones, if you see this WMS preview, you can open that and it will load this photo index here. And you can go in, and these will help determine like what frame you need. Say you were looking for this city, you could come in here and say, okay, well, I need 5-64. And then to download this data set, what you want to do is, we don't have a download in the map enabled for this due to some limitations of our DataHub that we hope to work on in the near future. But here, if you come down to this S3 URL, and you can click on this link there, and this will take you to our data warehouse, where you can see there's an index for this. If you see LI, that means line index, and you can just click on these indexes to download them. And then this would be that photo index you saw earlier. But if you know what frame you want, then you can come in here and click on the frames, and then see that there are all these frames here you can download. If you do see these like XML files associated with it, or like a TFW file, then that means that that data set is georeferenced. So make sure you click on both of the links to download the georeferencing image information as well. We didn't geo-rectify the images, primarily because it tends to warp those images. So we just have this associated XML that tells the software where to load that data set. Some of the data sets do have services available for them as well. So say this Texas NAPE, if you scroll down on that metadata tab, oh, this one does not, that one does not have a service yet, but let's go to the 2022 NAPE. So if you scroll down here, you'll see a heading that says WMS link. And here you can just click on this and copy that link, and then paste that in your GIS software, and it will connect you to that service at TxGIO. For some of the LiDAR data sets as well, we have varying formats of data sets. So as I mentioned before, you can download hypsography, and you just access those additional data sets by clicking on the tile, and then you see those download links appear. For the LiDAR data sets, we also have break lines available for those data sets that were produced, and you can find those in that supplemental download section. We also have tile indexes available as well. And so the other, let's see, the other application I was going to show you is our, me zoom in a little bit. There we go. This is our data warehouse. So if you know which data set you want, like I said, you pulled that index for a LiDAR and you don't want to download a packaged zipped up area for the LiDAR data sets, you can come in here, and if you go to the LCD and then go on collections, you can come in here and see these are all of the data sets that we have available on our DataHub. And this is kind of more in like a old FTP style of data set. And then you can, let's say the Upper Coast one, you can come in here and see the different data sets that are available. LPC, we'll go the LiDAR point cloud. And then in here, you can find and access the straight LAZs in a non-zipped format. And then you can select the tile that you're looking for. And if you click on those links, it'll start downloading it for you. We additionally have some other in the data set. This is the historic imagery. Lore is where our historic imagery is found. And if you come in here, you can access this historic imagery this way, but the naming conventions are not as understandable. So that's why I would encourage you to access those S3 links that are found on the DataHub. We also have the MSD, which is our map. So if you come in here, you can find a series as well as other Texas Water Development Board various maps. And so you come in here and find these maps to download. Those are also available on our main website. If you go to our data and maps and then click on maps, you can come in here and see the various maps that are available to access. And then last on the assets is just a support folder. So there's nothing in there that would be of benefit. But the unsupported data, these are kind of older data sets that are no longer available or supported. Things like the old text.urban files, the old Railroad Commission original Texas Land Survey, the wetland inventory scans, some old political boundaries, and then some old address points that were created back in the 90s, I believe.
Hey, Joey, can you remind us how to get to the data warehouse, please?
So the data, I have a link. We don't have a way to directly access it through our DataHub, except by so if you go to one of those historic imagery data sets, you can access it there in a kind of roundabout way, or you can just type in that link I've provided. But if you can just back out here and then get to the top of the data warehouse.
Okay. If they have FME, they could probably use FME to download some of this data from the warehouse, right?
It does. It is supported. Like I think like some people use like download them all and some other third-party applications like that, and you can go through and scrape that site to download those data sets.
Thanks.
And let's see. And so that's it for the demo. And so if you want to get in touch with us, also on the DataHub page, any of those collection cards will have a contact tab at the top there. And you can click on that if you have questions about the data or are looking for some more information. Feel free to just fill out one of those forms and it will send a notice to our team, and then we will get back to you quickly about it. Here's our contact information for everybody. If you're interested in reaching out about any of the specific data sets, please feel free to reach out, and we're always happy to talk to our customers and help them out with any questions they may have. We also have community meetings for the Texas GIS community every quarter. We currently have one coming up in July on the 23rd, and it is in the Capitol Complex. We're always excited for people to attend in person, but we also have them online as well. So if you want to remote into that meeting, you can get a link for that through a QR code we're going to have on a contact page here in a second. And then our fourth quarter community meeting will be at our Texas GIS Forum this fall and November 7th. And that will be at the Pickle Center where we hold our forum every year. And also, if you're interested in any past meetings that we've had, those are recorded and they are posted to our YouTube channel. And of course, our Texas GIS Forum this year is November 3rd through the 7th at the J.J. Pickle Research Center, the Commons Conference Center. Registration is now available, and you can attend by clicking that link there. There are student rates and government rates available as well. You can connect with us. We do have an X and a YouTube page. Our handle is @GeographicTexas. And then we also have a mailing list that you can sign up for. That'll give you that'll send you links for the community meetings as well as any other outreach efforts that we do with the GIS community. And of course, you can always email us at gio@twdb.texas.gov. And I think that's it. And then if there are any other questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Great. Thank you all so much for sharing that. Are there any questions? I see a few on the chat. I think we'll be sharing the presentation and the video on the PUG Hub, if that's available.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if anybody else online had questions. I did have one. When you guys mentioned the 2 and 3D building models, with that data set, are those going to be classified or are they footprints? And when I say classified, I mean, is it a residential building unit? Is it a hospital or commercial? Or are they the footprint, like the spatial data?
Yeah, it's the spatial data.
Yep. Okay.
We are, open to potentially joining them or looking at, other aspects. So there will be in the future, the Water Development Board is working on a statewide building data set that we're currently in kind of the process of understanding a process to create a statewide data set like that. The footprints that we build from the LiDAR will eventually feed into that. But there will be, from what I understand, more information tied to those building footprints, that statewide data set layer. It'll have hopefully building value, it'll have HAG and lag, it'll have some other attributions, but those are still kind of getting hammered out in the research and development phase at the moment. So we're probably a year or two out from having that type of data set out available.
Great, thank you. Are there other questions? Not seeing any pop up in the chat. Alma, had you heard of any?
Can I ask, sorry, this is Jenny. Can I ask in the chat, are any of you guys currently using Texas GIO or TNRIS data? Anybody in the room already using their data? I mean, we do a lot for our training classes.
But I really want to promote it because it looks like very good data sets that we're hunting down anyways.
Yeah. And I have a question about the address points because I know what a challenge that is to create both the address points and the parcels. So how frequently is that updated? So you got to go out to every county, right? That's a ton of information.
Yeah, that's correct. We compile it every year. So we do outreach efforts to predominantly whoever the 911 agency or district is in that area. We also work with the COGS and those types of groups and CSEC to kind of compile those data sets. And so we do have good relationships with many of those folks. And so typically we just have those contacts and we reach out for their updates every year and they send them to us.
That's incredible. So you guys in the room from the oil companies, right? Tell your landmen and landwomen about this, because this is a ton of legwork that's being done for you here. I mean, it's extremely challenging to do on your own for a state the size of Texas.
Yeah, and our parcels are similarly collected. We do outreach to the county appraisal districts and get their parcels that they produce each year, or updates to their parcels that they produce each year, and then compile those into the statewide data set.
That's good. So we have to do surface rights in the energy industry, right? For all sorts of applications, but also the address points are really useful for pipeline people who are doing any sort of analysis of what's going on near their pipelines. So it's really good information to have. Can you teach this to the other 49 states?
We try to, and our, our GIO is the past president of NSGIC, and so he had quite a bit of influence recently to the other states, but there's definitely a lot we learned from the other states too. So we're really happy to be a part of that organization.
And NSGIC, I'll put it in the chat for these guys. NSGIC is another great organization to be a part of. They bring together the top leaders in GIS from every state once a year to discuss issues related to states and GIS. Any other questions, guys? Maybe we give everybody back a few minutes of their life, huh? A free 7 minutes of their life.
Yeah,
sounds good.
I'm not seeing other questions. If there are, please drop them in the chat and we'll try to route them around. But I do want to extend a huge thank you to Gayla and Joey and trying to get this right, Lauren and Ellen and Clayton and Sean and Aaron and Maria. Hopefully I got everybody. But yeah, I definitely want to thank everybody for sharing this information. It's a huge value add to the energy industry, and we appreciate your time. And then before we leave the meeting, just a few reminders. As the slide says, please join our LinkedIn community and access the PUG Hub, where we have a lot of resources for geospatial professionals. And if you have any other questions or ideas on topics that you'd like to see for a webinar in the future, please reach out to me. And I'm happy to coordinate with Alma and Jenny and try to get those scheduled. And with that, like Jenny said, I think we can give you some time back and stop the recording, and this will be posted on the PUG Hub.
Thanks, Heather. Yeah, there was a question from someone who joined late, just a second ago. That's fine. Who joined late, and I wanted to reiterate, like you said, the recording for this webinar will be posted on the PUG Hub. So if you haven't connected to the PUG Hub yet, or the LinkedIn PUG online group, please do that.
I know, yeah. Actually, while we're on that subject, different, but you wanted to, so the first.
Okay, doesn't sound like that was still a question. Sounded like that was background. Wanted to make sure.
Good. Thanks, guys. Thank you all for attending, and thanks, Gayla and your group for such a great presentation and for all the hard work you guys do.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Great. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care.